Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I am your host, DJMaverick. Today, we have a super talented guest. We have a mom of two girls, dog mom of two Great Pyrenees, and also a startup co-founder. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jenae Goodin. Welcome to the podcast. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Very good. I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. We have so much to talk about. But for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Jenae Goodin, and I recently started a startup, co-founded a startup called Bab.
Very cool. Tell us what Bab is. That's like great lead-in, right?
Yes. Bab is a digital shopping bag. It lets you put all of your items from a bunch of different stores, but in like one place, like in a big ass bag.
Awesome.
Which is why it's called Bab.
I like it. So I'm shopping and I got like multiple tabs open, right?
That's right.
It's super frustrating. Like enter your credit card here, add to cart over here, right? So you just put all that and then just magic.
Yeah, in a big ass bag.
I like that. Awesome. So besides that, what else? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I have two girls who have a teenager and a toddler. So pray for me, people.
You like to stay busy, no sleep, huh?
Yeah, which I love to sleep, so it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to do yoga, anything that's like aerial related. So like the people who do stuff on the silks that are hanging from the lyra, all that stuff. Wish I could have run away and joined the circus. Those are pretty much a little bit about me.
Very cool. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up here in Oklahoma, or where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tulsa.
Yeah. Okay.
I was actually born in Nebraska.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I was born Husker by birth.
Awesome. Cool.
And then just moved to Tulsa when I was 2 and pretty much grew up there.
Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
Okay. No one judge me. Union Redskins for life.
All right. Cool. I like it. It's a pretty big high school, right?
It is. Yeah. And you will meet people that are literally 50 years old and they're still like, Redskins.
Yeah.
Like, we're ridiculous.
Loyalty.
That's right. That's right.
What were you into in high school? Were you like part of the sports people, part of the music people, the artsy people? What club were you in?
So I was in student council.
Okay.
I was also in a club called Defy. It was drug-free youth.
Okay, cool.
Union is just, well, at least when I was there back in 2002, I'm dating myself.
Yeah.
It was just a school full of smarty pants.
Okay.
So it was cool to be smart.
Yeah.
Like took AP courses, all of that good stuff. I got really good grades, barely graduated in the top third of my class.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it was like super competitive, everybody, huh?
Everybody's smart.
Yeah.
So my after school activities were kind of nerdy.
Yeah. Hey, no judgment. It's a judgment-free zone here on the Maverick Podcast.
Good. But yeah, student council, that was my jam for a while.
Cool. So what was like your career ambition? If I would have asked you, hey, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? What would you answer to that?
I am in the 10th grade yearbook as most likely to become famous.
Really?
So you are helping me achieve that goal now.
This is very cool. This could be like the catapult to that, right?
That's right.
And I think you're well on your way. Like you're being a little bit humble, but I mean, I hear serial entrepreneur, right? So walk us through that. Like how many like startups, how many businesses, how many ideas have you had along the way?
Well, let's start with the first one.
Okay.
You know, I did the typical lemonade stand.
Oh, as a kid,
yeah.
Like lemonade.
You got to do the lemonade stand. That's where you get your business basics.
Yeah.
But then I remember in high school, I had a dress that I was obsessed with. Mm-hmm. Love clothes. It was from, do you remember Mervyn's, like back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was from there, and the Hawaiian print stuff was really big.
Yeah.
And I loved the dress, and I couldn't fit it anymore, so I cut it up, and I made a purse, like a little bag.
Oh, okay.
And then everyone was like, oh, that's cool. So
where'd you get the purse?
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, I made it.
Nice.
So I just started making purses and selling them. Really, really random, weird thing. But I feel like for me, that was kind of my first foray into business.
Okay.
Also owned a pole studio.
Really? Now,
Yes.
like this is like with the yoga stuff or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was a pole and aerial studio. Taught pole classes, lyra, silks, acrobatic yoga, partner yoga, all that good stuff.
So you're gonna have to break it down for me because I don't know all the different, like, you know, what's yoga, like pole versus silk versus everything. Break it down a little bit for us.
Okay. So for those who aren't in the aerial world, I guess we'll call it. It's a pretty small community around here. You have pole, which most people know and they think of and associate with.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's so much more than that, though. Yeah. It's so much more than that. But so we taught that.
Okay.
And then silks, when you think of Cirque du Soleil and the silks,
were they
fabric,
like unravel, unravel, and all that? Okay.
Yes. So we taught that, and then lyra, which is the big circle, the big hoop.
I don't know if I'm familiar with that.
So think like a hula hoop that is suspended from the ceiling.
Okay.
And you can sit in it, you can spin in it.
You can fall from it.
Hopefully not, but yeah. It's been known to happen.
Cool.
So we taught that, and then of course just yoga, partner yoga.
Okay.
Acrobatic yoga. I mean, whatever kind of yoga you could think of. That's my jam.
Cool. Are you still into that? Like, that's kind of like one of your loves, hobbies type thing, or what?
Well, I still have a pole in the house.
Awesome. Cool.
So maybe.
Okay. I like that. Cool. So along the way, I guess you've always had like your quote unquote day job, or have you like jumped the ship before?
I have.
You have?
Actually.
Okay.
I used to work at a bank, and I jumped the ship there, not by choice.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like if you're an entrepreneur at heart, it's really difficult for you to kind of fit in.
Definitely.
Like at a day job.
You feel boxed, right? Like you can't be creative. Yes. You're like, I've got all these ideas. I've got like all this stuff that I need to get out, but I have to focus on my like 9 to 5 right here, right?
Basically that. And then I would run into issues where I'm like, okay, we're doing this thing. This is dumb.
Yeah.
How about we fix it? Here's how we can be more efficient.
True.
But it doesn't fit in with their bureaucracy or like, their procedures. And so it's like, we know this makes more sense, but you can't do that.
Right. And then you're like, why not?
Yeah, I'd be like, well, that's dumb. So anyways, suffice to say, did not work out.
Okay.
I may or may not have been fired because I couldn't get to work on time.
Yeah.
Still friends with my old boss, my old
that's funny.
VP.
Shout him out.
Yeah. What's up, David Zeter? I don't know where you're at, what you're doing, but what's up?
Yeah, shout out to okay. Cool. So then after that happened, you're like, might as well go into entrepreneurial life or what?
Yeah, I had started looking at other jobs and actually got an interview to be like an executive assistant somewhere. And just kind of like, I don't know, I just felt this pit in my stomach. Mm-hmm. I was like, you don't want to do this. Yeah. You're just going to be right back in that same situation of not wanting to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it.
Cool. And what was like that first sort of like, startup that you had? Like, did you already have an idea? Were you already working on something on the side or?
Kind of. Yeah. So I have a background, of course, like in kind of the fitness industry. I'm RYT 200 certified.
What is that?
And so, if you don't know what that means, it's registered yoga training 200. Okay. And that 200 means that I have 200 hours of yoga training. It took me like a year. It's a really big deal. Mm-hmm. That way I can teach a class and not have you hurt yourself. Okay. That's kind of important.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
So I had that, and then I had an AFAA group fitness certification and just like kind of a few other things underneath my belt. Cool. And I was teaching classes, and I just noticed a lot of the people who are in the fitness industry are all about like health and fitness and, whatever their subject area is. Yeah. But like they don't know about the business side. And so like they would go teach a class for like $15 for like a class. I'm like, it costs you $7 in gas to get
like
there.
It's not scalable, right?
Well, it's not scalable. It just didn't make any sense. Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? Wouldn't it make sense if while you were at work, somebody came in and they taught you yoga during the lunch hour? Oh, okay. So I just like created this whole thing, made a random website, and then I just made a list of companies and I started cold calling.
Really? That's awesome. That takes a lot of guts to do that.
Nah, you just get pick up the phone. So I'm literally calling another company and my phone's beeping, and it's the first company that I called. And they're like, hey, we're actually looking for someone to do this. I'm like, great. So they're like, well, let's bring you in and we'll
Did you like fake it and say, oh, hold on, let me put you on hold. Let me see if our sales department is available right now.
I should have. I've been like, hold on one moment. My secretary will put off the call.
Put on some background music or something.
I know. They would have been like, what the? I should have. But no, I just went in there, and it was a pretty big company in Oklahoma, and ended up teaching what ended up being called Yoga for You. You only got an hour.
Okay. That's cool.
I'm terrible. Well, like acronyms and company names.
I mean, it's straight to the point, right? Like, where you're getting. It's like yoga for you, right?
Yeah, but you only got an hour. So it spells YOGAH.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I have problems. But yeah, that's how it started.
Cool. How did that go? Did you have success with that? Were like companies like, oh, like we like this, we want to like do this more of this, or what?
I had a lot of success with them. I actually ended up teaching what I called corporate lunchtime yoga. And so I would go teach 2 during the lunch hour, 2 sessions, and then 1 after work 2 days a week. So off the bat, I had 6 yoga sessions.
Awesome.
So I was like, I got this. I can do this. How much is insurance? I got this.
Got it. So what was like, the bank didn't work out to your first like yoga, like I'm cool, I'm killing it. Like, what was that like time span? Did you have like some rough like months, weeks? Like, what was that?
Days.
Days.
So
no way.
I was single mom in it. So I had a mortgage.
Yeah. You're like, I got to make it happen. Right.
Yeah. That'll get you moving.
Yeah, definitely. And we were talking about like, that making that jump, right? Like,
yes,
I've got side hustles. A lot of people I know have side hustles.
Do it.
But making that jump, it's so hard. Like, how do you do it? Like, they always say that the paycheck is a drug that they give you, so you forget about your dreams, right?
I think that's really the case. If I think about it, me getting fired from that job was probably the biggest blessing. Because I loved my boss. Like, I loved my our senior VP. Like, I really, really liked what I did there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was fun working at the bank. It was in commercial lending. It was just fun.
Yeah.
I probably would have just stayed there forever. And the weird thing is, I just had a conversation with our VP about like, what does my career trajectory look like? Like, let's
right before.
Oh yeah.
Oh
like,
man.
Literally like the week before.
And I'm sure they were aware of like what was about to go down, right?
They weren't until the last minute.
Really?
And they were trying to fix it, if that makes sense. They were trying to make it not happen.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want to let me go.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a bank. It's very
Right. It's all numbers.
Yeah, corporate. you got to get to work on time.
Right.
So
Okay. I see. But it sounds like it was a blessing in disguise, because that kind of sort of started your.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because we talked about lemonade stands. Are you a Gary Vee fan? Do you follow Gary Vee at all?
Yes, I know about. Yes.
He talks about lemonade stands too, right? And he had like multiple lemonade stands, and he would like ride around on his Hot Wheel, collect money from like the different lemonade stands or whatever.
He was thinking big.
Yeah.
Like that's the level that I should have been
Yeah.
on, but I was like, no, just in front of my house.
But it works, right? Yeah. It treats, you get to learn about people, you get to learn about money, about like your costs, like, you know, it teaches you a lot.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
Cool. So what was the next idea after the yoga? Like, where do we go from there?
Well, then I was like, I'm ready. I want to open up a pole studio.
Okay.
So
cool.
The thing behind that is it's not necessarily what people think, but once again, whenever you're kind of in an artistic field, a lot of times people are all about the art and the purity of the art, and they're very much like, I don't care about the money. But if you don't have money, you don't get to continue to do the art.
True. Yeah. It's always the art too, right? Like always the art's the one that gets like budget cuts, they get lowballed with budgets, everything, right?
Maybe that's actually why, because maybe artists are just really good at like making do with just like a little bit of money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have a pole studio. I like dance. I was in Palm when I was younger.
Cool.
I was a Palm girl.
High school? Yeah.
Technically junior high.
Junior high. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Same difference.
Yeah. So did you have success with the pole idea? Did you get a lot of interest with that? Yeah.
I did. What I did is I started out, because money. I found a gym that had a room that they used for classes that they didn't use all the time. And I was like, hey, let's do a profit split. How about I teach classes out of here and we'll split, what I bring in 70-30.
You're like, you're not even using the space.
Exactly.
Right. Just sitting there.
And I don't have to pay you unless I make money. Here's my insurance. Always got to have insurance.
And they were cool with that?
Yeah, they let me do that. So I did that for a year, built up my clientele, and then found a space to open up my own space. Yeah. And the cool thing about that was I had this clientele. I pre-sold packages. If you like bought it before the studio opened, you got a discount.
Awesome.
And then, I was in the money.
I like that. Yeah. So it sounds like you take some risk, but it's calculated, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of like, okay, we can do it this way, but if I don't have any people, I don't have to pay you. Yeah. A lot of people would probably not think about that. That's a little bit out of the box thinking. How do you come up with some of those ideas, you think?
Being broke.
Just being creative, trying to make something out of nothing?
I was broke for a very long time.
Yeah.
I had my oldest when I was in college. And so,
okay.
I mean, Yeah.
You have to be resourceful, right?
Yeah, you do. Because they kind of like to eat.
Yeah.
They still like to eat. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. So you did that, and then what was the next thing after that? Is that where Big Ass Bag comes in, or we're still like another business away?
Well, I ended up selling the pole studio, got pregnant.
Yeah.
Yay, with the I call her the tiny tornado. She's cute. She's a lot.
Yeah. Cool.
But so I sold the business and everything when I got pregnant, and it was kind of like, what am I going to do now? Am I going to start another business? Am I going to go work for someone else? I will tell you, if you're going the entrepreneurial route, you cannot do that if you do not have a supportive partner.
Okay.
You can't fight the entrepreneurial business battles and then like come home and like
and not have support at home.
Yeah, and
right?
have to justify or explain or defend like, okay, well, I have to do this though because I have this business right now. So that was one of the reasons why I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to start another business.
Yeah.
And I went to work at University of Oklahoma.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
What would you do there? Where did you end up there?
I ended up in the IT department.
Really? Okay.
I absolutely loved it. It was like
Cool.
the most random thing, and I would always tell them, I guess if I'm not going to work for myself, this is the only other thing that I could do that'll work out.
Why do you say that? Like, what was so cool about it?
I was in the office of the CIO, so I got to work with someone pretty high up, and they were like, "Okay, we need this done. Yeah, just go do that.
Go figure it out."
Yeah, and I'd be like, "Cool,
got it."
Here you go.
That's cool. Yeah. So it sounds like you enjoy like solving problems, being resourceful, like all that. Like is a great making of an entrepreneur, right?
I mean, I create a few problems too.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But you mentioned a very important piece, and that's like having a support system, right?
Yes.
So if you don't have a support system, and to me, it also seems like your friends are like almost like the hardest people to convince.
Sometimes.
Like I'm always like, I've got this idea, like you think this would work, and a lot of them are like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I would use that. Like it seems like you start getting support from people that you don't know initially. Yeah. And then after you like start to quote unquote make it, they're like, oh, I knew him. I knew her like before she blew up, you know?
Yeah, you got to be Mike Jones. Back then, y'all didn't want me. Now I'm hot. Y'all all
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
did you find that was the case with some of your ideas, or did you always have that support system?
I feel like I'm really lucky. I always had that support system.
Okay.
Like I feel like I got really lucky. I say that. I had an unsupportive partner at the time.
Yeah.
I have a very supportive partner right now.
And shout him out.
Hi, Jared.
Very cool.
He's waving. Y'all can't see it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Waving. He's super supportive, so that makes a difference.
Where did the idea of the big ass bag come from?
Well, last year, let me tell you how quickly stuff moves. Like when it's right.
Yeah.
Last year in December, I was looking for something for my youngest daughter to wear to a wedding that I was in, and I had 20 tabs open. It's funny that you talked about the tab thing. It's like, you understand.
I mean, because I've done it before.
Problem,
right?
Yes.
Because you're like, I like these pants or these shoes here, but I like this shirt over here. Like, you can't ever find everything in one shop, right?
Right. Yeah. And Amazon tried to fix that, but they didn't.
Not really.
Just saying. Yeah, they didn't. So I'm looking for something for her to wear, and I've got, like, no joke, 20 tabs open.
Yeah.
And it was just ridiculous. And I was just so annoyed because I was trying to figure out, well, does this dress go with these shoes?
Yeah.
These shoes go with this other dress. And
you can't see everything on one page. Right.
And then you're also trying to figure out like how much it is. Like, I'll get these things though, but I'm not going to get it if I get this thing. And I was just like, why can't we put all of this stuff in one big ass bag?
I like that. Yeah.
And I was like,
like, why can't you?
I know. And then like someone's already like thought of this. So I'm like Googling, can't find anything. Next day, still Googling. And then I just started thinking, okay, surely someone solved this problem. They just are a terrible like ass marketer.
Sure.
I could literally find nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Then I just started asking around. Other people were like, yeah, I got that problem too. And I was like, well, let's just see how much money this would cost. It just kind of like,
try it out.
Yeah.
Quick proof of concept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, you already know. And so I called a lady, talked with her. She gave me a quote. And then she said, there's an accelerator called Builders and Backers, and they'll give you $5,000 just to test your idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said, you should apply for it. And I was like, yeah.
Is this in Tulsa or where is this?
It is virtual.
Did you have to have like some kind of working like proof of concept to apply, or what do they require for that?
So you don't have to have a working proof of concept, but what you really do need to have is like an idea and basically like a hypothesis. Like, I'm trying to test a job to be done is what they say. And so for me, the job to be done was being able to put all my stuff in one place while I shop.
Yeah.
And just be able to compare, contrast, save, add, whatever, check out,
Okay. So if I'm hearing you put the pieces together, to me, probably the biggest hurdle is getting the vendors to agree, like, hey, here's my API or whatever, for you to get that, to be able to add it to your site. Was that a struggle or no?
So I'm going to speak about this from the non-technical co-founder role.
Okay, very cool.
So all you technical people out there, don't judge me. Don't judge me. You haven't walked in my non-technical shoes. So we decided that there are actually a bunch of companies who are trying to solve the one-touch transaction problem, right?
Okay.
And they are running into exactly what you just said. The company has to give them the API.
Yep.
The issue is they're not going to do that because that's how they make their money.
Right.
So why am I going to give you profit?
Yeah. What's in it for me? Why am I going to give you my customer data?
Right.
Because like your data is gold.
Exactly.
Right?
So y'all go figure that out. That's fine. But what nobody is looking at really is this part where we want to shop and, grab a bunch of stuff and put it in one place and consider what we're going to get.
Yeah.
That does not require any API.
Oh, no.
No, we wrote a nice little scraping tool and it's doing its scrape thing.
Oh, okay.
Pulling
cool.
info.
So you can do it with the website and they're not even aware, or do you have to get permission to do it, or how's that work?
So I don't think you have to get permission.
Okay.
I'm also an entrepreneur, so I go by the ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Right. Yeah, that's always the best solution for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about shipping costs? Tell me how that works. You calculate the shipping costs for each individual vendor, total it up on your site, or how does that work?
So right now, no.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're kind of rolling out what we're building iteratively.
Mm-hmm.
Another difficult word. It's right up there with cohort.
Yeah.
And so from what I understand and what I know right now, we don't have to do that.
Okay.
If that makes sense. You can add all your things to your bag, and all of your target things would, for example, be in one area. You click target and it's going to automatically load all of those target items into your target shopping cart. And then you can see what your shipping is. But who knows? Maybe we'll make that part of the actual bag.
Yeah, because to me, I think that's kind of like maybe something you could work out with the vendors or something where like you like cut the shipping costs or you divvy it up among everybody. And it's not as expensive,
So you're thinking big.
Because I mean, if you think about it, that's another pain point, right? If you're like got multiple tabs, multiple stores, you're paying taxes, you're paying shipping on each of those tabs, right?
So I mentioned that a bunch of different vendors are trying to solve the one-touch checkout problem.
Yeah.
One of them is Amazon, and they are, I believe, beta testing. It's called Buy with Prime.
Okay.
And that would actually solve some of that. And if you think about like their extensive, retail like relationships, like an ability to have stuff already in their little warehouses.
Sure. Yeah.
Like if they can solve that, and if they want to buy us, I'm
Yeah.
here for that.
Exit strategy, right?
That's right. And then you get all your discounted shipping costs. See, everybody's happy.
Yeah, I like that. So everybody talks about like the cool, like I'm an entrepreneur, I'm working from the beach, I'm killing it. I'm
cute.
about to go on a private jet, that sort of thing. But I want to hear some of the struggles. Tell me like, the nights that you're working 2-3 in the morning, or maybe the times where you're like, I don't know if I'm going to like be able to pay this next bill or whatever. Like, tell me about some of those hurdles.
Well, as far as paying the next bill, I decided a long time ago I would never be broke again.
Okay.
So
like that.
Yeah. So it's just not going to happen. No.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind what I'm building. I like to shop. So
that's trouble. That's trouble because you're building like the best shopping like app, right?
I know, but it's great. Like I'm literally in it every day, like testing it out and looking at functionality. And
you're like add to cart.
I don't think I'm allowed to bring home anything else right now.
It was a bug. Right?
That's right.
The stuff showed up. I don't know. It's a bug.
There you go. No, I feel like honestly, probably the biggest thing that nobody talks about is just like really this entrepreneurial mindset. So you are thinking about things differently than probably the average person, right?
Yeah.
Because if the average person was thinking about things the way that you were, they would probably be starting a business too. Mm-hmm. It's not for everyone. And so with that said, I feel like I've done a really good job of putting people like around me that I can talk to about like what I'm working on or like what, this particular struggle is, because I feel like it's like highs and lows.
Definitely.
Like in the same day, I am like the awesomest, most amazing, smartest person in the world, and like also in the same day, like I'm a dumbass because why didn't I know that? And I could have prevented this from happening. And
right. Like I'm rich. No, I'm homeless. So I need to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, case in point, we came across someone who is trying to do the same thing that we're doing. They just released their app 3 weeks ago, and I just was like under the earth. Oh, no. And then I'm emailing one of my mentors about it, and then like they're like, "This validates your proof of concept."
Definitely.
And then I'm like, on top of the mountain. I'm like, yes, I foresaw into the future that this was needed.
Yes, but competition. Right?
It's good though. That's good. So for me, like that's it. As far as like, I don't know, being up late working. Have you ever just been like really excited about something?
All the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like even if it's just a TV show, and so you're or a book you're reading, so you're up at like 2 reading it or watching it, or I don't know, playing Sudoku. No judgment here.
Right.
But so it doesn't feel like work in those instances.
Yeah, I always tell the people that my 8 to 5 pays for my life, but my 5 to 2, 3 in the morning gives me life.
So what are you doing at 3 in the morning?
Man, so if you only knew, I've got so many side hustles. So I'm trying to do like this podcast thing, right? I also have like an events DJ company, right?
Okay,
so
noted.
Private events, weddings, whatever, college parties, proms, right? Aww. And also digital marketing. So every time I go to a place, I always geek out about like, oh, what kind of social media presence do they have? Do they have a website? I would say probably 90 to 95% of the time, their website sucks or they don't have a website.
Oh yeah. It's
and like the place is like awesome. It could be a restaurant with like the best food, but no online presence.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Which is good, I guess, if you want like a hole in the wall, this is my secret. But me being a business owner, I'm like, why aren't you like doing it? Like if you're not online in 2022, like you don't exist.
You're like, why are you operating with this field of dreams? Like if you build it, they will come. No. Right.
And then another thing is over the pandemic, I got into investing and NFTs and crypto. So now that keeps me up too. So
question for you, since you're, into NFTs and crypto. I get an email from the information. I like them. I don't know, it's a bunch of random business news, but they're talking about kind of like what's going on with NFTs and crypto, like right now. Yeah. And a little bit of trouble. What are they? The Winklevoss brother people? Yeah. So I want your thoughts on where NFTs and crypto are now.
Right. So I think right now everybody's panicking, but it's really because these big, right? So if you think of early internet, right? Yeah. Like there was the Yahoos, there was the AOLs, there was the Googles, right? Like not everybody's going to make it, right? So there's there's these coins, and some of these coins and some of these NFTs have nothing backing them back behind it, right? Like there's nothing, there's no utility, right? So when these big, like you talk about the Winklevoss, they have Gemini, which is like a crypto trading app, right? Yeah. So if they get margin called, right, and Bitcoin, like it's like we got to liquidate Bitcoin, like we got a margin call, we have to sell. They own so much that price is going to come down, right? And then people panic, and they sell. Which is the opposite thing, right? Like your losses aren't going to be actual losses until you panic and you sell, right? Like if you're holding it, it goes up and down. It doesn't matter. You still own 1 Bitcoin, right? Yeah. But if you sell it when it's worth half a Bitcoin, then you lost.
Yeah. Now you only have,
right.
Okay, that's
but
true.
People like are so emotional with their trading. When it's like super high, they're like, oh my God, I got to buy Bitcoin. It's at 60,000, right? They'll buy it. It's super expensive. It starts to go down and they're like, I'm not going to lose my money. I got to sell. So they literally bought it at the highest point and sold it at the lowest point, which is the opposite of what you want to do.
Sounds like 2008 housing market struggles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of what's going on right now. But I think it's just because these big funds are being margin called, they have to liquidate, and that's bringing the prices down. But to me right now, it's an opportunity, because if you missed the boat when Bitcoin was like super cheap, like right now, there's some good entry points where you can get in cheap, you know? So don't panic and hold. That's what I tell people.
Okay. Yeah. Noted. Maybe I should I don't know.
There's a lot of utility. I mean, I think NFTs, anything right now that's like a ticket, if you think of like the Super Bowl ticket or something, that in the future is going to be an NFT, right? Because it's going to be like on the blockchain. You can say like, this is legit. This is your Super Bowl ticket. If you want to sell it, you can transfer it and it's right there on the ledger. You can say, oh yeah, like this guy sold it to Janae. It's legit. It's like the actual ticket.
Going to the Super Bowl, y'all.
There you go. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of opportunities. So I don't know, maybe explore that with some of what you're doing,
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. I like that. So tell me about big ass bag. You say co-founders, so that means there's other people involved. Tell me about that.
I just got a co-founder.
Oh, recently?
I did. Okay. Funny story about him. I found him on Upwork, and I had interviewed a bunch of developers, and I don't know. I just felt like we really gelled.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, you're the one. And so
but me hearing it, it's like you put in all this sweat equity, you did all the grind, and all of a sudden he's going to be or she's going to be a founder?
But first of all, the thing is, he had to actually build the thing.
Okay.
So you got to look at it like that way too. Like, this is my vision. This is how I need it to work. Nope, this needs to do this. This needs to do that.
Okay.
And so don't forget, like, I paid him. But it was kind of funny because I kind of sold him like this big vision. And I'm like, this is what's going to be. And he's just like, yeah, okay.
I mean, you got to have the vision, right? Like, you got to be like, when people are telling you like, you can only do this much, and you're like, why, right?
I know. I'm like, yeah, you can't believe it. And so I told him, like, you're going to be my CTO. You're going to be my CTO.
Like that.
And he's just like, yeah, okay. Anyways, guess who my CTO is now?
Yeah.
Him. And then we have one more person that we're kind of working with right now to see about bringing on. So I should, when all is said and done, have me and then 2 other co-founders, and
awesome.
Excited about it.
Cool. So are you a believer that you surround yourself with like people that have strengths where you have weaknesses? Is that kind of what you did when you found your co-founders?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just applied to this accelerator. I'm kind of in that process and made it to their next round. But they have kind of like a formula, right? They say whenever you're building a business, you have the architect, and you have the creative.
Yep.
And then you have like the technical person. And so
what about sales? You got to have a money person.
So
right?
the salesperson, I believe, is kind of in the architect, which is like the not architecture. Well, yes, I guess you could say architecture, like building the business. So things like operations and things like that.
Okay. So not like technical architecture, just architecture in general of the business.
Right. T is for technical. That's your developer. That's the grinder. Like they're
cool.
You know,
behind the scenes, right?
Yeah. Punching out code.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And you mentioned this like accelerator. We were talking about it a little bit off camera. Yeah. And it's a pretty big deal, right? Like, tell me a little bit, like, how did you find it? How did you apply? And then, like, it sounds like you're on your way, right? So tell me about that.
I mean, I hope so. Y'all pick me, please.
Yeah, fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Pick me, please. I have an interview next week. So what's really interesting is as you start doing stuff, I think in our brains, we feel like everyone's laughing at us or like they don't like want us to succeed. But I think most people want you to succeed, right? So like you doing your podcast, like you probably feel like, I hope you do, that you have people coming out of the woodwork to support you.
I don't. You know how many people I like send messages on Instagram, whatever, like, hey, like I like what you're doing. Could you be a guest on my podcast? You see where they leave you on red, right? And like that's like probably like 90% of the people.
Keep at it. Keep at it. You'll find your
my groove.
Niche. Yeah. And
I hope so.
And then, like I said, you can pull out your Mike Jones card.
There we
and
go.
Be like, back then, y'all didn't want me.
Now, like, I don't know. We're gonna have to see if we can fit you in the schedule. We'll see.
Can you call this podcast episode "Back Then Y'all Didn't Want Me"?
I like that. That's perfect. Maybe I should change the whole podcast to that. Right? Yeah, that's a new name of the podcast.
and there's like a music aspect here, so there you go.
Yeah. Cool.
You guys want me to rap? I'm just kidding.
Let's go.
You don't want me to. But I just feel like as you like really start focusing on stuff, I don't know. This is just like my personal opinion. I feel like people come out the woodwork and they really start to like help you and like support your vision. That's how I feel. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like really smart and I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be.
All right. So let's pretend that I'm this owner of this cool fashion brand. I have my own website. I have cool products. Pitch me on like why I should like work with you in your app. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Clearly. So what is your company called?
It's Maverick Clothing.
Okay.
It's very exclusive, very hip.
Okay. Maverick Clothing. You know what? I am right now building an app. We've got an MVP and basically it's for online shopping. You have an online store, right? Maverick Clothing does. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I checked out your website. It's pretty cool. These pants, I think I need them.
I agree.
But you know what the problem is? Whenever I go to your store and I want to buy these pants, I mean, everything else is great, but these shoes at this other store I want to buy. And same with this shirt. And since they have more stuff at this store that I want, it's just easier for me to just go there, kind of buy those things. And after that, I don't want to have to go make another trip to your store to put your things in my cart and buy them. So wouldn't it be easier? Wouldn't it be easier if I could just add the pants from your store that I wanted with everything else from all these other stores that I wanted? It's not competition. It's making sure that we're including.
What's it going to cost me?
Nothing.
I bet that's the first question, right?
No. Well,
what's in it for me, right?
Well, what's in it for you is increased sales and less cart abandonment. Yes.
Yeah.
See, wouldn't you like to close those sales more?
Definitely.
And we're talking about a fractional amount of money here. It's a microtransaction.
Okay.
$60 pants. Maybe I'm getting 6 cents. I don't know. See, that's nothing for you. Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll start a trial.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. So now you're open to beta with your app. Are you trying to get beta testers, or how's that going?
I am trying to get
Very
beta
cool.
testers.
So if people are interested, how do they do that?
Well, if you're interested and you want to be a part of the beta, you can go to shoppingbab.com.
Okay.
So shoppingbab.com.
Okay.
And you can just sign up there. And once you sign up, you'll be sent an email with a link to the beta.
Cool.
And that means I'm going to ask you questions, and you're going to help me just make this like the best app ever.
That's awesome. So they have like an avenue to provide feedback, to share like their experience, that sort of thing?
Right now, it's me bothering you.
Okay, cool.
Via email.
That works, right?
Well, I want to, so since we're at the beginning, I think it's really important for me to have actual like eyes on what the user's doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, where are you clicking? Like, where do you want to click? Like, what are you looking for? Like, what's the next action that you want to do? What do you wish we had? What's like tripping you up? So yeah, it's me bothering you.
So me kind of geeking out with the data aspect. I think down the road, what would be cool if you start to gather that data and you can sort of say, hey, this person, if they like to shop here, guess what? They also like to shop here.
Yes.
And they also like tend to do shopping during these times, during these days. Like you could gather all those analytics, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's super valuable.
And that's, to me, like super fun to kind of watch like those trends. I always say this, so with the data doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny how we think that we know what we do, but then there's like data that says, no, this is what like the average behavior is. And it's just, I don't think people understand how much money is spent like researching that.
Yeah.
So credit card company, they're going to get you. Who do you think you are?
True.
I'm not going to spend. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Yeah. And also, I think if you had like a sort of like a way to offer like discounts and stuff for using your site, like because you said it was like a Chrome extension, right?
So we have that on the product roadmap.
Very cool.
Some specialized coupons, some I left it in my cart.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's 10% off. You should go. You should go hit that checkout button.
Awesome. So it sounds like you've got some of these creative ideas already in the works. So that's super exciting, because to me, that's part of like being an entrepreneur and almost like the art of doing it and figuring things out. Like that's the fun part to me.
I think so too. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe 1,000-piece puzzle, but like you have 3,000 pieces.
And the pieces are moving all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what picture am I trying to create?
Yeah.
But the hardest part about that is that this is a beta and trying to not boil the ocean. It's really difficult sometimes to just like focus on like this thing and just make sure that you do it really well. Okay, I've got this in place. Now, next step. Like it's hard.
Yeah, definitely. So I heard through the grapevine that you were on a reality show that didn't come out, but it was filmed, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. So a long time ago in a previous life, I was on a country music singing.
Country music singing?
Reality show.
That is not what I was expecting.
I know. Oh, yeah. It's called I'm a Star. And it was filmed. It never made it to air, but I was a top 10 finalist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where was that? Was that?
All across these OKC bars.
Really?
Okay. A couple in Stillwater.
So you can sing?
Yeah.
Should I put you on the spot? You're like, no.
Well, I feel like whenever people do that, then like they don't tell you what to sing, and that's what you're always thinking of in your head. You're like,
do you know what's that country song that I'm gonna like take my keys to the side of his pretty four-wheel drive or whatever?
Carrie Underwood.
That's like one of my favorites. It's scary. It's a scary song as being a guy, right? But it's
just
a cool
don't
song.
Cheat.
Yeah, just don't cheat, right?
It's not scary if
like
you
a
act
bat to his headlights, like everything, leather seats. Like I remember all the parts. Trust me. Like
it's a good song. It was an anthem.
Yeah. Is that kind of your vibe of what you were singing, or are you singing like more like traditional, like old school country? Or?
Johnny and June by Heidi. I can't remember her last name. Neufeld. I sang. I can tell you some of the things I sang.
Okay.
I sang Black Velvet.
Okay.
That was fun because we got to sing with a live band. Independence Day, Martina McBride.
Yeah.
Love that song. I sang some All I Want to Do by
Okay.
Sugarland. So
Cool.
I don't know if that, the band Perry, I don't know if that's kind of
Yeah.
giving you a little bit of my vibe at the time, my country vibe.
So let's dig a little bit into that. Like,
Oh no.
tell me if I were to pull your, I don't know if you're a Spotify user, Apple Music or whatever. If I would pull up your playlist, like who would I find on your playlist?
If you were to pull up my playlist, you'd be confused.
You're like, what is this? It does not make sense.
It doesn't. Let's see, what's on my playlist? A lot of Disney soundtrack songs. Youngest is really into zombies too.
Okay.
If you're a parent and you have a younger kid, you know about that soundtrack. We've been listening to that a lot. The oldest is really into K-pop and J-pop.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and all that good stuff. So I've got a lot of that on my Spotify list.
Do you guys talk about Bruno?
Of course. We do.
Or we don't talk about Bruno?
We do. No,
Yeah.
just really that. Hamilton. I'm super obsessed with Doja Cat right now.
Oh, okay.
and that song that she's got on the soundtrack to the Baz Luhrmann film that's coming out.
Okay. Cool.
Elvis.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So a little bit everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Megan Thee Stallion. Don't judge.
Okay. No, that's awesome. I'm in the same way. Like depending on like what type of day I'm having or what I'm doing at the time, like I could be listening like either Frank Sinatra, Post Malone, NWA, like everywhere. Nirvana, like everywhere.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Nirvana, you can't go wrong with.
Right. Absolutely. It's one of my favorite bands for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here.
Cool. I like that. Also, one of the other things that I ask my guests is to tell me something about themselves that most people don't know about them.
Okay.
So I'm going to put you on the spot once again.
No, that's fine. I'll tell something serious.
Okay.
So because I had a former life, you could say, in fitness, and I'm pretty bubbly. A lot of people don't know I actually have lupus.
Okay.
And I was diagnosed with that 2016. And it just, people don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
I think they kind of like freak out. And
Yeah,
like,
it sounds scary, right? Yeah.
It is. It's just like your immune system's like, hey, guess what, body? I'm going to attack you. And so,
Okay.
but the good news about it is I think it's really forced me to take care of myself and prioritize myself.
So it's like manageable, like you kind of like know the symptoms and you can kind of like do stuff to like take care of yourself basically, or how's that work?
It's manageable if you take care of yourself.
Okay.
So previously, I'm on medication, of course, like for it, but previously people who had lupus would die from like heart disease. I think like in lung disease were kind of like the biggest things. They'll have a lot of issues with arthritis and what's called like Sjogren's, just some different things. And so the big thing is taking your medication, kind of having those regular visits like with your doctor to make sure your blood works good. And then for me, I feel like that's why yoga is so important. Stress will exacerbate that and kind of like cause a flare up.
Yeah.
And then, once that happens, that just happens. For me, that's my hair falling out.
Okay.
And just being like ridiculously tired.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So it sounds like yet another obstacle that you kind of just figured out and you're like, I'll figure it out. I'll build the airplane as I fly it type thing. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. So like being an entrepreneur, a lot of people always like talk about the grind, talk about the hustle, but they don't talk about like your mental health and like how exhausted you are, like all the other stuff, right? So tell me a little bit about like mental health. How do you sort of like stay good? How do you make sure you're not overdoing it, but at the same time, you're taking care of business, right?
I like to schedule stuff.
Okay.
I like to plan things. You can ask my boyfriend. I booked a random glamping trip in September.
Okay, cool.
In case you're listening and you don't know, it's June. So
coming up.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's just kind of for me, like planning and marking out like time to do those things. And then the best advice I ever got was, if you're an entrepreneur, you should just be doing 3 things. They said building the product, talking to customers, and taking care of yourself.
Okay.
And it's just funny how much like we neglect to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, that usually is not on the list of being an entrepreneur. You don't see that on posters, right?
No, but listen, I got that advice from a Y Combinator.
Really?
Yeah, like a Y Combinator little thing that I went to. So if Y Combinator says it, and they're responsible for DoorDash and Uber, and I'm there. I'm going to listen to that advice. But the reason to me, like why that's so important is because you have all these people like kind of like pulling at you and like giving you information and advice. And if you aren't grounded and kind of in the right space mentally, like that'll sway you kind of from like whatever this path is, and whatever that path is, like that's like your path. Like there's this problem, you're solving it. Maybe you're the person who's supposed to solve it, not these other people.
Okay.
So you got to know like, what advice do I take? What advice do I, give the hand to?
But if you're an entrepreneur, right, like me playing devil's advocate right now, like how do you unplug, right? Like stuff's going to break, stuff's going to, like you always got fires to put out, right? So are you always on your phone? Like, are you always on call 24/7? Like, how do you handle that?
So I'm going to be honest. I'm terrible at that. Me and my phone are like.
It's hard.
It is, but mostly because I like to scroll through Reddit as my.
Okay. So Reddit's your thing, not like IG or TikTok, like
no,
Reddit.
I love Reddit.
Yeah?
I love Reddit.
What are some of the subs that you like? Is just like random ones or what?
Yeah. So I'm about to tell on myself. Real Housewives.
Okay.
The Bachelor.
Okay.
There's one that's like an Ilaria Baldwin snark sub. Because I'm like, what is she doing now?
Yeah.
So I like to jump on there. There's of course like Y Combinator sub. Some of them are random. Black people Twitter is awesome.
Yeah, it's always funny.
It is, and you're just like, what? White people Twitter is equally funny.
Oh, there's a white people? I didn't know there was a white people.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I may or may not be subscribed to both.
Cool.
So yeah, that's just like kind of my big like.
Okay, so that's kind of like when you're like just want to kill time, you just hop on Reddit.
I do, I do, and I'm good also for putting my phone on airplane. So if I don't know, I guess like that's the thing. Like if you need to. Like figure out like what it is, is it just letting everyone know I'm going to be out of pocket, like, for 10 hours. And so then like they know that. And so then you don't feel guilty about not responding.
Yeah.
Cause right now, like I am like the person that all the questions are coming to.
Definitely.
And so I need to get better about it. Okay. I'm getting better.
What about content creation, right? Because right now, regardless if you're a tech company, fashion brand or whatever, you're almost like a media company first.
I know.
And then whatever it is that you're doing, right?
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, because that's like full time, right? But when you're an entrepreneur, you don't have the luxury of having like a media person, right?
So you don't, but Secret, Fiverr is great. Mm-hmm. Upwork is great. Really any independent contractor site is great. I had all my marketing and like my brand guide stuff done by someone from 99 Designs.
Okay.
Super obsessed. Best money ever spent.
Cool.
And students. So.
Oh, okay. There's a hack there, huh?
Yes. I said I worked at OU.
Yeah.
I had some students. Another student got me in contact with a few other students. So I had a video person who was a student.
Awesome.
She's amazing and awesome. And then I had a social media person who was a student. Shout out to Abby. She's doing big things. She's kind of awesome. But it's summer and she's at camp.
Yeah. Cool. And I mean, that's kind of like, it's not really like you're taking advantage of anybody, right? Because college students want internships. They want something to put on their resume, right?
Yeah. And then you get to pay them.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of cool. And then the other thing too, I think people forget is like, they're not like, I don't know, they're not like just beat and ground down by life yet.
Yeah.
So
everything's like optimistic.
Yeah.
Like I've got time for everything. I'm going to be like killing it. Once I graduate, everything's going to be fine. Right?
Yeah. And you're like, okay, this is what I need done. Like you go figure it out. And then they just like, like without these, walls or like lines, they'll just wow you.
Yeah. What are some of your sort of like tech crushes, like or founders out there? Like who would you like sort of like if you could have like a role model or someone that you shadow, a mentor, like who would that be?
Okay, this is really good. Tristan Walker.
Okay.
He's the Dollar Shave Company.
Yeah.
He did an episode on what do you call it?
How I Built This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an awesome episode.
Yeah.
And I like it because I don't know, there's just something about like really like I'm not calling him basic, okay? But like, just like really like down to earth people. I don't have an MBA, you know, I don't have my master's or like my PhD. And there's just something like, and I don't know if he does or not, honestly, now that I'm saying this, but
I don't have like a person, hey, can you check that real quick?
Go check that real quick. No, yeah. But he just gave me like a lot of really like down to earth vibes. I enjoyed listening to his interview, listened to it a couple times. Him, Sarah Blakely, you know, she's the chick from Spanx.
Okay.
And she was like a copy fax machine salesperson.
Really?
Yeah, it's like ridiculous. And she's like, I'm going to make these Spanx. I'm cutting off these pantyhose. I'm going to do this. And she just, I hate the word like grind, but that's what she did to like make it happen. So I don't know. I mean, maybe one of them.
Okay. The Dollar Shave guy, he got bought out by somebody recently.
Shut up.
Yeah. So he's going to, you know, it was like direct to consumer.
Yeah.
I forget who, but one of the big companies bought them out. So I don't know if that's going to change like the way that they operate or whatever, but he like cashed out. Recently. Because that was like his big thing, right? Like it was like direct to consumer. Like we're in this club, it's cool. Like we're beating all the big guys. You get this cool razor. You're in this like cool, like, you know, cost effective, you know, sort of club type thing. And he sold out. But I mean, you always got to have an exit strategy, right? Like, so that's one of the things we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you should. Some people are very much like, I'm starting this thing. I want to be the CEO in 20 years. And that's great. And that's fine. I think one thing that we don't do a good job of though, like kind of in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, is explaining to people when like investment, like outside investment is good. Yeah. And when it's a fit. And if you want to be CEO in 20 years, you probably shouldn't go get some capital from, because they want their money back.
Right. Right. Or they want like a percentage, right? Like they want you to give up like some of that, you know, equity or something.
Yeah.
Right?
But they want the equity so they can get the money.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't want to wait 20 years to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. So we are getting the mark here that we have hit our time. But before we wrap up, I want to give you an opportunity to plug in your socials.
That's right.
Once again. So where can people find you if they're interested in what you're doing? And I don't know if you have like a separate one for your yoga stuff versus big ass bag, or if it's like all in one. You tell me.
I love Instagram. I'm an IG person. So you can find stuff about Bab, big ass bag. And that's Bab, BAB _shopping. Okay. That's my Instagram one. And then if you just want to see like what I'm up to, it's at Jenae, 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 Jene, say quoi. Okay. Get it? Like, okay. I'm terrible with these whole gets. But just if you look up Jenae Goodin, I'm on Instagram and you can find me.
Very cool. And then if people want to be beta testers, once again, like they just go to the website and there's like a place to click. I want to be a beta tester or what?
Just go to the website. Just go to shoppingbab.com. And as soon as you log in, you'll see the click here and you can click there. Just FYI, beta testing will not be open forever. I'm going to close it when I reach my desired number of beta testers.
And you want to be in that cool club to be like, hey, I was in the beta.
That's right.
Before it blew up, before everything. Like it's like discovering a band before they were cool, right?
I want to be the first unicorn. Yeah. Like out of like the Builders and Backers Accelerator. Like I want to be like Lyft, Uber. Like,
I like that.
Well, actually not Uber, but you know what I mean.
They're going through some struggles, but I think they're figuring out with the Uber Eats and they're trying to diversify a bit, you know. Okay. We'll see.
Hope it works out.
It's a struggle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I like that. I guess to wrap it up, I would probably ask you to share maybe a piece of advice that you were given, but you disagreed with it, right? Like you didn't follow it. And it turns out if you would have followed it, like you wouldn't be where you're at now. So do you have sort of an example of that where you're like, maybe someone told you, hey, you need to go to school, you need to do this to be successful. And you're like, nope, I did my own thing and look at me now.
The only really advice I guess I have is just remember when people give you advice, it's coming from a place of their experience. So, I mean, I'm not going to tell you don't listen to anybody. Yeah. But I don't know, just take it and then keep what works and, you know, pump back the rest, I guess.
Cool. I like that. Well, definitely wishing you continued success. It sounds like you're killing it. I love the name Big Ass Bag. I just want to drop that every chance I get, big ass bag, right? So cool. I want to thank you for your time. I know you're super busy. You got a million things to do. So thank you for being on the Maverick podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The super talented Jenae Goodin. Keep grinding because in the dream we trust.